And what I'm trying platforms you can use for authentication. Now you can actually build your own authentication. I know I'm not sharing my screen yet. You can authentication from scratch. I mean, it's straightforward. You have to work with a couple of things now. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me take off this GraphQL API so we can start from scratch. Okay. So we're going to build a new Express application in less than 30 or 40 minutes. So let me share my screen. One. Okay. Um, okay, so let's see. Go ahead and start. Go ahead and connect to my screen. I just want to verify my Auth0 account. Okay, so we're going to do our practical today with Auth0. So go ahead and create an account. If you're using your laptop, set up an account with Auth0, and I'll show you how to use it. It's quite straightforward to use. Yeah, so let me just go ahead and open. So this is Auth0, right? And you can visit the website, just auth0.com, I believe. So this is Auth0. Auth0 is a platform, secure access, including authorization and authentication. So just just to give a quick explanation on what the difference is. Authentication is about identifying users. So it's very simple. Authentication is about identifying users, and authorization is about checking if users have specific permissions, right? So authentication is like saying, who is this user? Do I know this user? Right? Who is this particular person? And authorization is like saying, okay, I know this person. Does this person have access to a specific routes or maybe a specific resource, right? So we call it resource, maybe like your API endpoint. So you can use authorizations. You can wrap up authorization in a middleware, and then add the middleware to your API resource. And the middleware will be in the position to check if a specific user um, has access to that. So it's quite straightforward, right? Authorization, authentication. There are some platforms that checks just authorization, and we have a lot of platforms. Like this is Auth0. We have one of the platforms I've used in the past. Okta, yeah. So I think back then, writing used the Okta a lot, right, for identity, And the reason why I'm showing you this from this standpoint is I want you to understand that a lot of systems are already implemented to manage these services, right? That does not mean you should not build your own, right? So if you want to build your own authentication system, it's fine. If you want to build your own authorization system, it's fine. But there are lots of things you need to consider when building an authorization system. So just like, let me see if I can give you a quick breakdown on something. So I'm going to open my text editor right here, new document. Let's see, okay. The size and authentication, authorization. Okay, so I've explained authentication. Who are you? Who do you have? Okay, so or let's say, do you have access? Do you have access? So when you hear someone talk about authentication and authorization, you should at least try to figure out what they're talking about. Now, one thing you need to understand when it comes to authorization is there are different ways, different platforms group, users. You hear of user groups, you hear of roles, you hear of permissions. Yeah, so a lot of platforms will probably start with user groups where they have like maybe users and admins. They can have different type of user groups. Then when it comes to role, they can have like generic role, which is just the user. They can they can have admin, they can have editor, they can have logger. Depending on what you're building, they can have like lots of roles depending on what you're building. have the endpoint you are calling, which is this endpoint. So what you're going to do is when you trigger this command, all you have to do is we've added this here as a middleware. Ideally, you can decide to add this directly in here, to check here. But since you've added it here, this is going to do the check for you. Now, first, you're going to check if the user exists, right? Then secondly, you're going to probably check the user role, right? Then after checking the user role, is this user an editor? Because probably only the editor has the permission to work on, to delete. Okay, so we're deleting user. So you're probably checking if this user is an admin. And if this user is an admin, you have to now check, does this user have permission to delete a user? Because probably the way you've built your system is you can have up to 20 administrators, and you want some of these administrators to delete users. You want some of them to you want some of them not. You don't want some of them to have the permission to delete users. So when you get down to the permission layer, when it comes to authorization, you can break things down into several bits. You understand? You can break things down into several bits. You might implement this yourself as a programmer. As a matter of fact, working with a company, there's every tendency that you might have to implement that. But if you're building something for fun, you might not want to go that route because it might be time consuming, right? So you might just want something that you can use to store your users. So a lot of people use Okta. I've tried it and it makes a lot of sense. With Auth0, we also use Firebase. More specifically, Firebase Authentication, right? So let's see. Am I logged in here? Yes, I think so. So I mentioned Okta. I think I should also share the link with you. Okta.com. Okay, so this is Firebase. I think I have a simple test project here, and you can use the Firebase Authentication, which is fairly simple to implement, right? So you see, I have a test I did here. This is an account, and they've automatically implemented the verification email and all that. So once you create an account, they do all the verification for you, and you can achieve this with a few lines of code, right? You can also set up an additional authentication method. You can decide to configure social media sign up, right? If you want to, you can set that up by adding a new provider here. So we can add Google Auth, Facebook Auth, you see, and this works automatically out of the box for you. The idea now is you are no longer managing the user yourself, right? So these guys manage the users. At some stage, they give you a lot of, I think I can call it free quota, right? So maybe they can give you you can have up to 7,000 users. I think on Auth0, you can have up to 7,000 users for free. The moment it exceeds 7,000 users, you start paying. The same thing for, I think for AWS Incognito, you can have up to 50,000 users for free. I use AWS Incognito. I use it very well now. So AWS Incognito. Let's just go to the home page. Yeah, so you can use this. It also manages everything around authentication federation, most especially when you start using social media auth, multi-factor authentication. Everything is automatically managed for you, and all you have to do is to write your code to probably push your users. As a matter of fact, they can even give you a UI. We're not doing this now, but I'm just making you understand that this is also a platform like Auth0. Yeah, so you can use this if you're working with AWS, of course. So I think Okta, AWS, Firebase, Firebase. What else? Let's see. So we have Passport.js. That is, this is a really interesting platform. As a matter of fact, I would advise you go with this when you are, building your application. So the way it works, let's quickly view. So they call it strategies. You can actually do your authentication, using different platforms like LinkedIn. Verify, authenticate using LinkedIn, GitHub, Google, Facebook, OpenID Connect, and a lot of other, even Microsoft. So you can see they have a lot of strategies. That's what they call it, authentication strategies. And all you have to do is, so for example, you're working with JWT. all you have to do is click on that, and it gives you like a complete implementation of what to do. Quite simple. I mean, the moment you use something like Passport, you don't have to pass through the stress of setting up the full blown thing by yourself. They manage it for you. They are not managing your users per se. You are managing your users yourself. That's why Passport is really interesting. So you can use the Passport local. So Passport local, and then you use the local strategy where you work with your username and password. Your username can be, email, of course, if you want to use email there. And at the end of the day, they give you this simple code you have to use for for checking.
How much online?
Excuse me, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so they give you the specific code you can use for checking this, Passport authenticate local. If anything goes wrong, redirect here, and then I think the code base is we can check the examples. Oh, okay. I think that is probably okay. I think the URL there is broken, right? Let's quickly go to the documentation here. Let's click on username and password, and let's see what we have. Okay, so this is when you add the login page, of course, using EJS, I believe. Then you add, I think, let's see, verified. So this is what I want to show you, right? To verify the username and password. You see they already have like a simple code base you can use. You have to really look at this and understand it. But of course, as you can see, you're fetching this item from your database, which of course is a relational DB here, right? db.get, and that's what we're doing. So, quite simple. Let's see. I think we've spent 23 minutes already. So, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to have a workshop where I would show you how to use Passport. We'll try out. We'll create an authentication platform using Passport, using the local strategy, and probably also implement maybe a couple of other strategies like signing in with GitHub or Facebook. So, but it's quite easy. You just have to understand it's easy from the documentation. I've tried it, and a lot of things about Passport is really interesting. And the other one is Superbase. I used this for a client the other time, and I really loved it. I'm not going to teach you how to use Superbase because the documentation is very straightforward, right? It's very, very. I mean, it's the most easy of all. Maybe I can use that term, right? The day I tried it for authentication, I think I was able to implement that in probably less than 20-25 minutes, and that was because I was just going through documentation, and it was straightforward. So once you go down to developer, you go down to documentation, and you select. They even give you sample quick start templates. Like if you're building for React or Vue, Flutter, Angular, you have this template. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to select, let's see, examples and resource. So you see, you have a lot of videos here that they use in implementing and doing comparison on the different platforms. I think we have Superbase Auth with vanilla JavaScript. And by clicking on this, it takes you to the code base. And of course, you can inspect. This is the JS file. You see, this is all you need to log in, sign out, and just everything you need basically. If you are working with vanilla JS, of course, you can convert the code to your React or Vue. Once you can do the vanilla part of things, this is authentication. So clicking on authentication, there's a default video explaining how you do this, right? And you can decide to authenticate with email or with Discord. You see they have a lot of strategies as well here. By clicking on login with email, it takes you to a documentation where it explains how to do that, with JavaScript, right? All you have to do is install Superbase as an npm dependency, and then you just await this .sign in. If you don't have a credential yet, if you don't have your account created yet, then I'm very sure they also have the sign up command. So all you have to do is basically install this, straightforward, install this, and use this code base to sign in. And I didn't want to log in right now, but I can show you that the moment you log in, they have like this. Okay, so let me show you. So they have like this interface. 1 minute. Okay, so I think I actually created an account with GitHub. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see. All projects. So this is my project. Okay, so this is the project I tested with the other time, and of course, make sure you have a secret. So make sure that it's hidden, except when you need to use it for your project, right? So if I go down to authentication, you see, just the way we saw Firebase, right? You have everything here. You have your SQL editor. You have the database. So you have authentication. I think my network is a bit slow, but I believe you get the points, right? I believe you get the point. So if I go down to authentication, why is this so slow? Okay, so this is taking our time, and we're not going to wait for this. I think I actually paused the project because I did not use this specific project, so I think it has to probably do some things on the background. I guess that's what I'm seeing here, setting up project. So, but you have database, you can view, you can save items in here, very easily. Okay, so I think, oh yeah, good. Okay, so you see, if I go down to auth, you have your try auth documentation. But let's just view if we have any users stored in here. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So I think we have just 2 users. So if you create an account, the users automatically appear here. And of course, they receive like a verification mail. And once they follow through on that mail, they are verified. And then you can decide to lock your Express.js route to say that anytime someone tries to perform an activity, come here and check if this is a valid user. And if it's a valid user, then probably check my database to see the role they have on their permissions table or on their profile. By the way, this uses Postgres, right? Unlike Firebase works with document DB, which is NoSQL. This is relational DB. So I don't have anything on my table. I don't think I have anything. I only have one table here. And of course, I can view. Let's see. Okay, so I don't think I have anything here. So, but you get the idea. So, on your database, you can store a lot of things here. You can store a lot of columns, profile as a column, blog, a lot of columns, and a lot of tables. And you can always do your search and all that. It's simple and it's beautiful. So, as a beginner, these are the kind of platforms you should play around with and get to build real stuff with these platforms. Right? Authentication, storage, if you want to store object files, like images, videos, and all that. If you want to use the real-time implementation here, you can also use it. Just like you have Firebase Firestore, you also have sorry, I think it's a Firebase real-time DB. Yeah, so you also have the real-time implementation here on Superbase. And it's a lovely platform. It's a new project. I don't think it's up to 2 years now. I'm not sure, but just go ahead and check it out. Right. So let's close this and let's create our project with Auth0. Yes. So building with Auth0 is also very simple. I'm going to be fast, but if you have any question, I'm currently looking at the Discord chat, the room. Drop your question immediately, and we'll try to resolve that. Yeah. So let us take this off. So I have a new Node.js project here. Close this. Also minimize this. So what I'm going to do is first install a couple of dependencies. So I'm going to install the Auth0 dependency, and also I'm going to install I'm going to install .env. So I love using .env. Of course, I believe you know what it's used for. So npm I .env. So we also install, let's install express jwt. Then I think I would also install express open id connect. I hope I'm not making any mistake, but I'm going to verify this. Where is the browser? Okay, so I'm going to verify that, but before I do that, let me show you that it's also easy to do from here. You know, this is the dashboard. When you sign in, you have what we call a tenant, which is like the application you've created, and within this application, or more like within this environment, you have to now create an application here. And by default, you see I have two applications: the default app and my app. So you can just go ahead and click on create a new app. What we are going to do here is we're going to just select. We're going to select. Let's see. This is for okay. We're going to select the regular web application. So if maybe you're working with Vue, Angular, or React, then you can use the single page web application. But of course, backend, right? Express, Node.js, Express. So we're going to go with the regular web application. Let's call this authentication. Let's call this backend authentication class. I hope they can work with the hyphen. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So this application is created, and by default they give you like they're asking us now what technology are we using for this project. You see, we have a lot of if you're working with Python, Django, Express right here. Once you click on this, they give you an example that you can follow. So they give you an example you can follow. You can also click on integrate now, just so that they give you like step by step while you're building. So if I click on integrate now, I have to do some basic configurations, nothing difficult at all. As a matter of fact, we are working on, our local host for 3,000. So I'm not going to, touch any of this, right? I'm just going to say save settings and continue. And then they tell us what to install. Right, so you have the steps in here. So this is exactly what I wanted to install, and I think I can just pick it up from here. Let me move this closer so I don't have to. Yeah, so I just have to install this. While that is installing, these are the dependencies we need. So while it's installing, we can go ahead and use this code base. But before we do this, let's just implement a very simple Express application right here. Okay, so I'm just going to do something very basic here. We're just going to first require .env. I don't know if I install this again. npm I.env. Okay, so .env.config, and that is because I want to use .env. Okay, so inside .env, I'm going to store some of these things you see here, like the client ID, the issuer, the bearer, secrets. So I'm going to store some of these things inside the env file. Well, let's just let express equals require express, right? Okay, so let app equals express, and app dot sets. That's because we're going to work with some views, login, logout, and all that. We're going to work with some views. So we're going to, by default, I think by default it's in the views folder, but let's just do this. App.sets, our view engine, and we're going to use the EJS, right? I'm sure you guys know how to use EJS. Finally, we're going to do app.use, and we're going to use the express.json. App.use. So you know these things like the express. I think it's called the URL encoded. Let's just leave extended as true. Extended as true. Okay. So I think this is fine. We're going to create a different file where we're going to store our routes. So I'm just going to do, let's just do, since I'm going to import this, you can give this any name you want. I'm just going to create a file here called routes.js. Okay. And right here, I'm going to do module exports. Do this. Is correct. Okay, router. Okay. So yeah, I believe you understand what I'm doing. So here, this is going to be app routes, and I'm going to require that route file. Okay. So since we're working with static files, I'm going to do the express.static, and of course, our static file, we can use the folder. Let's create a folder, public. So this is where we store our public files, of course, which, I mean, if we have any public files, since we're going to also have a view file, I have to create that as well. Views, that's what I called it here. Okay. So what else do we need to do? Okay, so now that we've imported the routes, we need to also say app.use. Not correct here. Okay, so good. Then app.listing. Let's listing on ports. So I'm going to just do ports, right? And we'll say console.log. Our app is listening on ports. So let's use the template string ports. So const ports process.env.ports. Yeah, okay, so process.env.ports, meaning I have to come down to the env file and put correct. So this is correct. And I hope I have the .env required. Okay, yeah, so this is required. Okay, so let's try to run this. I'm using NodeMon. I have NodeMon installed already. I believe you know what NodeMon is. If you don't, NodeMon is basically a plugin that would run our projects infinitely until we decide to disconnect. Even when there's an error, when we make changes, it automatically picks it up and refresh automatically. Yeah. So now we're going to be using NodeMon, and I am going to call the index file. Let's see. Okay, so I think that works. So we have this running on port 3000. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So let me know if you have any issues with what I've done so far. This is very basic, right? We've not done anything serious yet. We are going to start adding Auth0 to our application. All we have to do, let's do it directly inside the route file. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to do. We don't need to have too many files here. So we already have OpenID Connect, Express OpenID Connect installed. So I just have to copy and paste that in here. Also, we're going to copy this whole. As a matter of fact, we're taking everything here, and automatically they've given us the code base to check if a particular user is logged in or not. And let's see what happens if we pick the whole thing here and we paste that in here. Then we are currently using the this app.use. What we are going to do, we're not going to use the app.use here. Rather, we're going to use the app routes that we created here, to set up app.get as well. So I want us to check if we can, at least. So let's call this login. So basically, if we do the this should take us to the landing, like the welcome page, something like response.send hello, right? World. So this should be like Okay, so we have a problem. Auth is already declared. Okay, yeah, so take that off. What else? We have something is missing on line 18. I think that should be this, correct. Okay, so this is still running. Let's go ahead and see if our browser gives us hello world. All right, so we have hello world right here. Okay, so which means our route is working, right? And now we are about to test the login, right? And what we are seeing here right now is request.oidc.is authenticated. Now, this is coming from the Express OpenID Connect, which is, we imported auth from Express OpenID Connect. And this configuration, of course, is the Auth0 configuration, auth required, false, Auth0 logout true, which means there should be a logout route when we do /logout. It should log out. So that's why we're adding this. Then the secret, of course, we have to change this. Basically, I said I was going to move these guys to the .m file. So I'm going to do it right here. So let's see. This is secrets. Let's say auth. Okay, let's just do secrets. Of course, you don't need the string. So you can just have like something random, basically. So let's generate something random in here. What I'm going to do is split this npm I. I think it's called random string. I'm not sure, but let's see if that works. So if it's random string, it means we should be able to generate a random string from here. So if I do const rand equals require random string. So let's console.log rand.generate 30. So let's see. Okay, so of course, yeah, we had an error here. Process.env.secrets. So let's see where the error is coming from. So secret does not match. Let's see. Secrets is required. Okay. Let me leave this here for the meantime and see. Okay, so we're able to generate something. Let's generate something even longer. Let's go ahead and see if this. Okay, so the secret still works. So if I do process.env.secrets, okay. Okay, so we have the secrets generated. All right, great. Okay, so now we have the secret. The next thing is the base URL. So I'm going to move this as well. Base URL. Of course, this is not something you need to hide. I'm just putting it here, and the string is not compulsory. You can just leave it this way. So process.m.base URL. Then the client ID. We can also move this out of here. So we can do the process.m.client ID. Also drop that here. Client ID. And yeah, so let's just leave this for now. Okay, so these details, of course, we are using the details we have in our application because this is doing the verification from here. If we try to go to the route where it says login, it's going to check if you're logged in. So let's see what we're going to get as a response. If we're logged in, we're going to get logged in. If we're logged out, we're going to get logged out. By default, of course, we're not logged in. So if we go to /login, we are definitely going to see, we're expected to see log outs. I believe I'm on the right /login. Okay, so you see, because we were not logged in, let me go back again and I do /login. So because we're not logged in, it's demanding that we log in first, right? So you see, it's redirected us here and it's asking us login. So very straightforward. You can log in. Of course, you don't have an account, so you need to sign up. I believe you understand what I'm saying. You need to sign up. Let me also check the chats. Okay, there's no question for now. So I'm just going to sign up with this random password that was generated for me. Okay. I don't think this password requires something extra. So let's just add the exclamation mark. Let's copy this down, because definitely I will forget that. Okay. So something went wrong. So we need to verify what went wrong exactly. So it says talking about sign up to talking about to continue. Okay. Let's try this again. Please close. Okay, so this did not work. I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to log in again, and of course, since it's not logged in, it should ask us to sign up. So we're going to sign up. Okay, put a password. Continue. Okay, so we are also getting this error. I'm going to click on next. I want to figure out why we are having that error here. So let's try to figure out why we are getting that error exactly. Localhost, login. Okay, so I think the problem is coming from what we changed here, the secrets we changed. That's what I'm suspecting. So let's verify if that is the exact problem. I'm going to verify that. I'm going to verify process of env secret base URL clients. Okay, so probably I'm making a mistake somewhere there. So probably we're not picking this guy. Instead of doing the console.log, let me just try to verify with everything we copied by default. Just to see if it works, right? So let's go back and try to log in again. Log in. Okay, then let's check what we have here. So monitoring for log activities, even though we visited the /login route, it did not detect any activity from us. Let's try to sign up. Okay. Okay, so we still have the same error. I'm going to look at let's look at this. Just give me 1 minute so we can verify. So much of life. So we can verify what is happening here. Okay, so it says this account already exists, so which means it's actually worked. Let me go down to the database. Okay, so let's go to this application and let's see the users that was able to sign up. So I mean, it's weird why it says it's weird why this is not working. User management, users. Oh, okay. Probably it's because I have this user created already. Okay, fine. I think I get it. Let's go back here. Yeah, but the error is kind of weird. Something went wrong. At least it would have just said. So let's try a different email here. I'm going to use marvelous email. Right. Okay, so you see that was the issue. I already have a user with that particular email. Surprisingly, I did not get the user already exists. Instead, I was getting that funny error message, which I believe we can configure. But that was basically the problem. So I need to accept, right? Because this is authorizing with my backend. And now that we're authorized, let's go to login again. and let's see what we get. Okay, so now it's no longer taking us to that page, asking us to sign in, because automatically we created an account and we're signed in automatically. So now that works, right? So we're currently logged in, and we need to verify. So what I want us to do basically is we're going to add a code here. I think we can do that at the top here. Take this code and just drop it here. And what this code is going to do is, we're not using /login, so it's not going to try to navigate itself to Auth0. Instead, what we're going to get here is, once we visit the homepage, it's telling us log in, which means we're logged in already, right? And if we visit the logout route, it's going to log us out automatically, right? Which means it's going to log us out and it's going to send us straight to the. So let me show you what I mean. So if we do the logout now, this is going to log us out of the platform, and now you see logged out. Even if I refresh, we're logged out. So let's go back to log in, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to take us again to Auth0, right? We already created our account, so which means logging in is not a big deal. Solomon Marvelous 97. Of course, we've not verified the email, but I'm going to show you that. Sorry, I need to type in password. Is that correct? I don't know. Okay, yeah, that was correct. Okay, so now you see we're logged in now, right? So you see we're able to do this verification seamlessly. Let's quickly open up my email and let's see if we received. So we received a particular email from Backend Authentication class, which is the name of our application, asking us to verify this account, right? And all you have to do is click on the link, email verified. Now you have an authentication system, authentication system, and you see that we're able to create an account and also log into the account using Auth0. The next thing I would love us to do is authentication over an API. Now, what you can do with Auth0, basically you can create an application, you can create APIs, right? And you can also do SSO integrations. But if we check out our application, it's quite simple. We've done basically everything that you need to do in there. Maybe something you might want to do is probably you want to be able to see the user that is authenticated, right? In order to do that, it's quite simple. All you have to do, let's create a new, let's do the app.get. Let's do the profile. So if we visit the profile route, I want us to see that. I want us to see the user that was authenticated. So let's see if we can do. Okay, so I want us to secure this route, right? I don't want anybody to be able to access this route. I want them to only access the route when they are authenticated. So if I don't do it that way, we can just bring in the requests, response. So we have this callback right here. Okay, so we can do the RES of send profile page. So see what's going to happen here now. If we try to access the profile page, you see we're able to access this profile page, and it did not check if this user is available, if this user is signed in. But all you need to do is to add requires auth, which is what we added at the top here. So I'm going to add that here right now because I don't think we've added that. So we just have to bring it in from here. Requires auth. So what requires auth is going to do, let me see. Hope I did not. Comma. Okay. So what it's going to do right now is it's going to check. And now the checking is actually happening, but it's fast, so we can't observe that. But if we log out and then we try to access profile, so what's going to happen is it's asking us to log in now because we've added the requires auth, right? So, I'm repeating this. gmail.com. Don't save. Okay, so now hitting the profile page, we're logged in, so it doesn't refresh again. What I'm going to send as JSON. I'm going to send the user detail, and that's quite simple to do. All you have to do is send the ROEQ.OIDC, which refers to the authentication strategy we're using here, and OIDC. Then I'm going to send dot user. I want to send this. So I think this should work. So you see, we are able to get the nickname, the name, which is the email here. This is the email, so it's referring to the name as the email as well. But this is the email here. The date it was updated. The profile picture, it's getting this from Gravatar, of course. So it checks by default if you have your email, part of Gravatar, then it pulls this down. It pulls it down. I believe Gravatar. So Gravatar is just. So let's see if I go to. So you can check it out. I think Gravatar works with WordPress. So if you've created a WordPress application, probably you might have a Gravatar already. Not compulsory, but maybe you have it already. So now you see email verified true. We're able to pull this down. So this is how you check if a user already exists. So you can easily say you can easily do this. Let's see if we can send out the email only. So if we do this, let's see. So we're able to get the email. So in case you want to see if this user already exists, right? So you can say if this, then res.send user exists. That kind of stuff, right? Else, so you can just do else user not found. So basically, this is probably how you would do those checks. But of course, you might not want to do that here. Maybe you might want to create that as a middleware and check automatically. From the route level here, from this point here, you can just add check user. If you have that as a different function somewhere. So it's quite simple to do things like this. I'm going to send you this file when I'm done. So let us make sure we have JSON right here, and I think this is fine. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you is how you can currently what we're doing is we're actually verifying on the application level, and when I mean the application level, things like authentication, everything is happening directly on the application level. What if you have this application and then you're building another application somewhere, but you also want to do authentication through this application on that application? So don't be confused here. You have a different application you're working on, right? A different application somewhere, and what you might want to do is to set up authentication or authorization. You call this as your API, and this will do the check, right? This will do the check. Or maybe when you are already logged in, you decide to take your access token. So once you sign in, you have an access token, which we can see from here. Access token. Hope this is right. Let's see if this is correct. Localhost profile. Aha, okay, something is wrong. Just hold on. Let me see what is wrong here. Okay, so I need to verify. So let me access token. Oh, okay. I'm logging this here, so maybe I should just do REST. So cannot destructure access token. It is undefined. Okay. And why is it undefined? Okay, so this is undefined because, oh yeah, I get it. Okay, so we're actually trying to, I totally forgot, we're trying to assess, details that you probably use when you're working with APIs. Unfortunately, we've not created the API just yet. And that was my mistake. creating the API would probably take us a little bit of, come on. Okay, so we're already out of time, but I'm just going to show you like a quick hint on how it's done. And I'm also going to delete this because, I mean, you basically have access to everything you're seeing here. You can decide to play around with this and to also do bad things, to this application. So I'm going to take off those details. But before I take it off, you see we have the API section here. And basically what you can do is you can create an API, right? And you can create an API to point to your application, or maybe you have a different endpoint. And this is what you would use if you're working on an application that they need to connect with over the API. You don't have to probably render stuff directly like this. Some other persons wants to connect to this, so you probably have to sign in. They'll be given like an access token, and then they can try to communicate with your resources, which are the routes, using those access tokens. What I would do is probably I would organize a section for you guys where I would show you how to work with that. It's relatively easy, but because of time, so we can just call it the BE API. So this is local hosts for now. Okay, so I think this is basically the identifier. I think so. Let me see. So we recommend using a URL. Okay. I hope this kind of URL would work. I'm not very sure, but I hope it works. Okay. Okay, so since we're using Node, I have to click on Node. Yeah, so you see that, we already have a code base we can use to work with this. But of course, you have to do something called machine-to-machine application, and you have to approve the other backend we created, right? I don't want this to be complex, right now, but it's very simple. Authorize this application, and then you can go ahead back to the quick start to Node.js, and all you have to do is copy this detail you're seeing here into the application we already created. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it here. Let's do it here. Let's see. I think we're actually out of time, but I'm going to make it very, very, very straightforward. Yeah. So ideally, this is meant to be a different application. I'm not going to create a different application. Instead, I'm just going to work with a single file. I'm going to work with a single file here. I'm just going to call this API.js. Paste this in here. Then I will go ahead. So we're trying to make sure we're authorized before we can see this particular resource. That's what's happening here. So if this user is not authorized, they can't see this. Of course, we have to call. This is going to be a different. So here we're going to use like 4,000. Since the other application is using 3,000, so we're just going to use 4,000 here. And let's do NodeMon API. So let's see. We have a problem. It said it cannot find Express JWT. I was thinking we install this. Okay, so let's go ahead and install these libraries first. npm I Express JWT and also JWKS RSA. Since we already have Express installed, right? So let's just install this too. And, all we have to do is launch this particular file. It's going to work with basically the same dependencies on the other application. So let's see if that works. So it says something is listening on port 4,000, which is weird. So let's use 5,000. And yeah, so we have this API currently listening on 5,000, and we have this other API listening on 3,000. So what we are going to do is we are going to do an API call from the previous application to the other application. But before we can achieve that, we need to add a couple of things in here. Very simple. We just need to add a couple of things inside this configuration. So we can do that. I think all we have to do is to add the client secrets, just the client secrets. And let's see, we should get that from here. So if we go down to the settings, just hold on, please. If we check the settings, Okay, so this is the application ID. So we have to go down to application. We need to get that client secret. It's really important because that's the only way we can communicate to this other application. So let's see if we go down to the settings of the initial application we created, we should get the client secrets from here. So this is the client secret we need to copy. I'm just going to copy it directly. Let's go back to our application. All right, so in here, we're going to add a couple of things here, client secrets, right? And let's just paste this like this. Authorization parameters, which is params. And then we're going to put, so the response type we need, and the response type, I'm going to show you why we are going to be using this and how you work with it. I think this should be underscore. So we need a code, then the audience. So the audience is going to refer to the application that we want to be able to work with these details, which is the new application we created running on port 5000, right? So audience, and this is going to be local host, of course, with your HTTP localhost 5000. Don't worry, if this is confusing you, you will see why we're doing this shortly. So for the scope, so the scope is, okay, what do we want to be able to access about this user? Do we want to access the profile, just the email, or maybe the OpenID details, right? There are so many scopes, and of course, you can see those scopes from here. And let's go back to permissions, to see those scopes we're talking about here. So I think that should be in the application here. And let's see. Okay, so at this application type, I find it difficult to remember the exact, because of the way the settings, everything is customized here. Sometimes you just have to really look for the location of this scope thing. Oh my God. Okay, let's see roles. So I think this scope is meant to be in here. Surprisingly, I cannot figure, taking 8 minutes already extra. So this is access settings. This is token setting, general setting. Yeah, so permission scope. Yes. So this is where you add the permission scope. Sorry, that took me a longer time. So you can add the scopes, to your application to programmatically do this. Instead of doing it here, we can just programmatically do this, and it's quite simple. So we need to access, the profile. Maybe we should start with the OpenID detail, the profile, and also email. You can take off the email. You want to see the profile level. You don't want specifically, email, but of course, this is fine here. And I think this is all we need, right? This is all we need to add here. The final thing we need to do now is to say the endpoint that we want to call, that particular endpoint we want to call. But before we call that endpoint, I want us to go ahead and log in again. And, based on these things we've added, I want to see if this is going to give us the response type of code, which is the authentication, the token that we were trying to get the other time, right? So let's see how we can get that token. Let's try if this is going to work from here this time around. If we log this to token, right? Token type. So let's just log the token type. If we try to access /profile, let's see what happens. So we're still getting the same error. I think I'm going to first log out, right? Let's log out and let's log in again, so it can fetch that, can fetch that now. So let's log in. We're already logged in, so definitely that object is not there, I believe. So if we log in again, gmail.com, with our password, which is personal. Okay, so something went wrong. Solomon, marvelous. Okay. Again. Okay, so just just 1 minute. I think one or more of your connections are currently using, okay, yeah, of course, local host login. Just hold on. I'm trying to see if, so this is authorized, right? Authorized as well. Okay. Did I forget my password so soon? Oh, okay. I mean, that was fast. Um, okay, so I think I was making a mistake there. So I'm getting access denied, but at least we're no longer seeing the previous error that we got the other time. Let me go ahead and access profile. Let's see what we get from here. So access denied, and I want us to figure out why we get access denied here. And looking at what we see here, this is undefined. Let us see. I think the major question here is: are we able to, log out? We still get logged out, so that's the issue. Wow. Okay. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Of course. I think it's coming from what we've added in here. So let's try to figure this out. Localhost 5,000. We need this scope. Um, let's see what is wrong exactly. Let's see what is wrong exactly. So this is, of course, a configuration error, I believe. Yeah. So let's see. If I go down to the permission, what do I need to add here? I don't know. User. Mm, yeah. So I don't think that is compulsory. So we're definitely getting an error from here, and this error is persisting even though our client ID is valid. Yeah, our client ID is valid. The base URL is valid. The client secret is, of course, valid. So let's check this API. What exactly is wrong here? The audience, of course. Um, the audience, of course, is correct. Okay, just bear with me, or just give me 1 minute to verify. This is what you experience when you're doing live coding. So just give me 1 minute to verify what is going on here. If I try to log in again, um, what is happening here? Everything looks fine. Okay, everything looks fine. Okay, so I'm quickly going to check. I believe this is coming from the application level. Um, .js access denied, unauthorized. Unauthorized. Let me go ahead and verify that this still works without that detail. Logged out, login, right? So this still works without this detail. So the problem is coming from what we've added so far: authorization params. Okay, response type, code, audience. So now I'm just like looking at the looking at the typo. If there's an error, scope. There's no error. Email, profile, open ID. Um, so client secrets. Okay. So client secrets. Okay. So let's go back and let's see what we have here. So we took the client secrets from the application. Let's see. Of course, machine to machine. Oh, okay. This was not saved. Okay. I thought we saved this. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's log out. Okay, let's see if we are still going to get your unauthorized error thing there. Solomon Marvelous 7 gmail.com .com. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Unauthorized again. Cloud request access denied. Hmm. Okay. I need to let me see the client. This is the client ID exactly, and it's authorized. There are no permissions code defined yet. I mean, I was not expecting I needed to do this, but let's see. Profile. Open open ID. I don't know if there's a valid scope. Open ID. Okay. Okay. So I mean, I don't think this is compulsory before working. I need the client ID, which I have, and it's correct on our code. This is the client ID, yeah, correct. Then client secrets, which of course, oh, okay. I mean, this is quite strange. So I think probably we made a mistake with our client secret, which means I'm going to check and verify that I'm showing you the right thing. I think what I gave you guys initially as a client secret was oh, okay. So logged in now. Okay, fine. So the problem was from the client secrets. So let's see. Let's verify that client secrets. Um, okay. So I gave you the client secret from the application layer here, and oh, okay. We're working with the. I think this is what we're working with, right? So I gave you. Okay, so I think I gave you a different client secret, which might have cost. That is what actually caused the error. So which means I am using I was pointing out the wrong client secret. So how do I get this client secret from here? Please bear with me so we can get the client secret together. Um, yeah, sometimes you just have to search through this page. Where are you? So I checked the tests, right? I got the client secret from the test, and this worked. Um, Security, I don't think so. Um, okay, so I don't want this to take our time, but I strongly believe. Okay, so I have to check that client secret, away from here. Okay, sorry, that was more like the global client secret. I could not really, show that on the screen here. Yeah, but surprisingly, I can't figure out, you know, where that client secret is located at the moment. But I'm very sure. I'm very sure. I think probably what I did there. I think that client secret. Um, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Client secrets. That's weird. So I was actually expecting to. Okay, so I can't seem to get that client secret from here. I was able to get it from the test. So, but it seems more like something that was probably hashed, right? I'm going to verify this, and I'm going to let you know if this client secret is something that was hashed. You see, I just got it straight from I selected the BE authentication class, and I'm seeing it here, which is this BE authentication class. But I could not get it from here, and something tells me that you have to hash the secret to get that value. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to check and get back to you on the chat if this secret was hashed before we got the final value that we're currently working with, because it seems to be it's looking the same to me. RP62T, RP62T, and this is looking exactly the same. Yeah, so it's looking exactly the same, and okay, someone said on the chat that probably the previous email did not carry .com, and yeah, I'm beginning to think maybe that's right. So let's log out and try again one last time, just to make sure everything log in, just to make sure everything works properly. So Solomon Marvelous 97 at gmail.com, right? And let's see if this works. Okay, so we no longer see the error. And of course, the client secret is exactly what I copied from here. I verified this. It's exactly what, we copied from here, which is exactly what we did before, client secrets. Just want to see exactly. And it works this time around. So probably there was a mistake, from the email I was typing. You can watch the video and let me know again. After you've tried this, you can watch that same video and let me know. But I believe now we should be able to see the token we're looking for, which we just have to say const token. Probably, yeah, we need the access token, access underscore token. This is what you use in sending your requests, and we just do the req.oidc dot access token, right? And then we can log this terminal access token. So let's see if this would give us the access token. Yeah, so now we get the access token, and this is the token that you need to make your connection. I've taken too much time. I'm sorry, but this is what you need to make your connection to authorized. And basically, of course, you need a plugin to do that, right? All you need to do is npm I Axios. You need Axios or any other HTTP request plugin that you might use. I'm going to be very fast with this, right, so that we don't waste too much time. So I'm just going to do app routes .get. So let's call this secured. So anytime we come to this secured page, we want to access something from the other application, right? I believe you understand me. We want to access something from the other application, which is the application that is running. I think I mistakenly closed it now. API. Okay, so it's running again. So we want to access something from that API, but we need to verify. We need to send across this token, and the other API will check and say, okay, correct. This user exists, so we can give this user the resource, which is this resource, right? If you're not authorized, you cannot get this if you're not authorized. So let's just be fast with this. I think I'll try to finish this in 4 minutes, and I'm sorry for taking too much of your time already. So let's require auth, of course, and sync, right? So we have our requests, response, and yeah. So we do the. I'm just going to store this detail. The detail I'm going to get back from that endpoint in here. So let's do the const. So I need to pick. I need to pick two things. One is the token type, right? And the second thing I need to pick from here is the access token. Um, okay, so let's put this inside the OIDC. Let's pick this from the OIDC dot access token, which is what we logged in here. So I think I can just go ahead and grab this, take this off, and yeah. So let's make our request. Let's call this response. Await actions gets, because that endpoint is a get endpoint. HTTP local can't type again, local host 5,000. And yeah, so that ended with private. So as you can see, we have authorized. Let's just use private here. So that was what we copied, right? We copied the authorized from their website, but I just changed that to private. So we can have our comma here. So ideally, you need to send in the access token as an authorization header. So if you have not done anything like header, don't worry. It's not a big deal. When you are making, when you are sending, when you are trying to get details from an a secured endpoint, you need to send in some sort of authorization. And we have a lot of authorization. If you use a Postman, you can check and you see a lot of authorization. But we're going to work with a very simple type, which is the bearer token type. So if we do the authorization, we are going to pass in two details here. And of course, the first one is the token type, and the second one is the access token. Yeah, so that is what we need to pass in. Okay, so then our response, I said we're going to store that in here. So we'll do the response dot data. We'll store that inside the response, and then let's put this in a try catch block. Why am I making this silly mistake? So we're going to put this in a try catch block, right? So we can catch this, and if there's an error, let us print the error to the console. If there's an error, okay. So finally, we need to send back, what we have, res.send data. So I think this is fine. So let's just assume we don't send this, as an header. Let's just assume we're not sending the header. I'm taking that header up for now. Just a very simple assumption. We're not sending it, so we just want to, call this way. This is /secured, right? So let's come down here and let's say localhost, of course, from 3,000 and secured, and let's see what we get. So let's come down here. You see something actually went wrong. Actions not defined. Oh, okay. So we need to do const actions equals require actions. Is that correct? Okay. So that was the initial error. Let's do this again. Let's see. So we have another error here, 401 unauthorized, right? So this is what we're talking about. It's expecting you at this point to send in the authorization. Okay, so I think I've made a mistake. So I would have just commented it instead of taking it out. So I just added the authorization again, right? So we've added the authorization. Here's what you need to send before you can have something, before you can have a successful request, require actions. Okay, so let's try this one last time. So we call secured, and you see we get secured resource, which means this was successful, which means we called secured, and secured was able to call this other API, right? it did not tell us that we're not authorized. It sent in the token and the access token, and this other API was able to validate those details, right? It was able to validate those details using the JWT check. It was able to validate those details that came in from the header, from the authorized parameter, which is your bearer token, your bearer and the token. It was able to verify that on the JWT check middleware, and it gave us this response, right? Remember that if you don't add this, you're definitely not going to have a successful response. So if we run this directly, this is what you're going to get, a blank data, of course, which at the end of the day tells you that you have an error, right? This connection is closed. You have an error somewhere, I think, unauthorized, the response 401. All right, so basically that is all I need to share with you here. What we've done right now is both authorization and authentication, right? We started with authentication, which is to create a user, log in, log out. You can also delete a user if you want to. And then finally, we also did authorization, which is assigning this token and sending it to the second API we created here, just to verify if this request is valid or not. Thank you very much. And I know this is a lot. I'm going to share this with you. Go through this, ask me questions. Of course, I'm going to delete this at the end of the day, so you won't have access to any of this. Follow the prompt. Use this as more like a pointer. But if you try to access this on your laptop, you are definitely not going to. This is not going to work for you because these details you have here. I'm going to delete these details, right? So that's why I'm keeping this here to show you that you can actually have all these items, sitting in here, so that when you get this code base or get it from someone else, you can easily make your changes here instead of making your changes directly inside the code. For now, everything is directly in the code, and you can alter this anytime. So I mean, it's not that complex. Just take your time, go through this code base, line by line. And I strongly believe you would understand what we've done so far. So drop your questions if you have any. I see no one is asking any question. And of course, that is to show that this is a lot for one night, for just 30 minutes. So go through it, and I'm available, in the room. You can always ask me questions. Thank you very much for joining, and have a wonderful night. Remember, your task 3 is going to be dropped this night, probably before 12 p.m. So you can start working on your task 3 from tomorrow. I will check out your work on REPL IT, and if there are corrections, we'll do that together. If we had enough time, we would have also, implemented the task 2 on this call, the way we did it the other time. But because we don't have enough time, we'll have to do it in the next class or before the next class. Maybe we'll set up a session and just work on the task 2. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Bye.